It looks like the wheels are coming off the wagon for Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP. And let's hope, and it's not a moment too soon. As we all know, the main threat to the unity of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland at the moment is not from the Irish Republic or Irish republicanism, but the main threat is coming from Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP. And to say this is some sort of justice would be an understatement, in my opinion. If even one of the accusations that Alex Salmond, the former leader of the SNP, who incidentally also wanted to break up the United Kingdom, probably still does, if even one of the accusations he's making against Nicola Sturgeon is true, she will have to resign. If all of the accusations are true, and obviously that's a big if, it may well be found that Nicola Sturgeon is not just going to lose a job, but she may well lose her liberty. Can you imagine that? From First Minister of Scotland, from literally pulling the tail of Boris Johnson on a regular basis, the little shrew north of the border, the little weasel north of the border, the Jimmy Cranky lookalike north of the border, ends up in Balwinnie prison, or whatever the women's prison in Scotland is called. That would indeed be justice. And in fact, if Nicola Sturgeon resigns next week, which is looking highly likely and highly possible that she'll be forced to resign, if not next week, then in the weeks to come, I will certainly be popping a bottle of champagne and be celebrating. I might wait till I get to England to pop that bottle of champagne, but it will be a day to celebrate. The reality is that Nicola Sturgeon has been sailing close to the wind, even with the referendum. The claims that she is making highly disingenuous. And as we said in a video last week, if she does get independence, what currency is she going to use? If she does get independence, how is she going to force the European Union to allow her to join? Now, I personally think that the European Union would welcome wee Nicola and her wee friends from the SNP with open arms. But I also believe that the idea of if there is a referendum called, the idea of a boycott of the referendum is a very, very valid idea, because it means that the referendum has no credibility. If all of the people of Scotland do not agree to vote in that referendum, then it has absolutely zero credibility. If the British Parliament fails to allow a referendum, the referendum has no credibility. Because the referendum in 2014, the Scottish people were told by Nicola Sturgeon and by Alex Salmond that the referendum was a once-in-a-lifetime event. And what has happened with Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon shows the true nature of the Scottish National or Nationalist Party, the true nature of the viciousness and the vileness and the lust for power that there is within that organisation. Even if one of those claims that Alex Salmond has made is true, that Nicola Sturgeon has deliberately misled Parliament about what she knew, or misled the Scottish Parliament about what she knew about the accusations against Alex Salmond. And we've got to keep remembering, Alex Salmond's probably not a very nice character. I don't know really much about him, but he's certainly a slippery one. But the reality is, he was taken to court. He was charged with numerous sexual offences, and he was acquitted on all of them by a jury of his peers in Scotland. So some part of the Scottish judicial system, thankfully, is still working. But if what he says about the SNP trying to get him put into prison is true, and if those allegations against him are proved to be completely groundless, then that's even more explosive than wee Jimmy Cranky in a dress, than wee Jimmy Cranky lying to the Scottish Parliament. But of course, she's been lying to the Scottish people, as has Alex Salmond, for the past 20 years, claiming that Scotland, independent of the United Kingdom, is going to be some sort of paradise, some sort of nirvana. Of course, it's a myth. North Sea oil wealth is worth nothing anymore, especially with the relentless march to renewable energy. idea of leaving Scotland, a part of the greatest union, that's the greatest political union that's probably ever existed, leaving Scotland, leaving the United Kingdom and joining the European Union, going from freedom to slavery. Now, I would challenge any Scottish nationalist, true Scottish nationalist, to examine their hearts and say, is that true freedom? Going from the freedoms that you enjoy in the United Kingdom to the slavery that you will be under as a member of that failed superstate, the European Union. And of course, Nicola Sturgeon probably has a lot in common with those corrupt politicians, those liars and lechers in the European Parliament and in the EU Commission. Unfortunately for Nicola, I think the Scottish people are going to find her out. And they might not do it at this election. They might not fully realise how corrupt the SNP is. But hopefully in years to come, Scotland will have good governance and a good government. And it was described last week, the Scottish government was described last week as not fit for purpose, a failed state. And who said it wasn't fit for purpose? Was it an arch unionist? Was it Boris Johnson? Was it Nigel Farage? No, Alex Salmond said very, very clearly that the SNP were not fit to lead Scotland into independence. Think about that. Think about that. Absolutely outstanding claims. And apparently there's more groundbreaking stuff to come out in the next hours and days from Alex Salmond. Whether Alex Salmond is a hero or a villain is, well, history will decide that. But I think we can be absolutely sure that the days of the duplicitous, dishonest SNP ruling Scotland as a one-party failed state are coming to an end, and not a moment too soon. Goodbye, Nicola. The champagne's on ice. I'm looking forward to your downfall. See you all soon.